That morning, everyone was talking about the same news. The Duke of Calmore had returned. By noon, it was being discussed in every club, every salon, every breakfast room. Thomas Grain had come back. From the war. After 3 years. And in one corner of London, on the second floor of a small house, Anna Farwell heard the news. She was alone. Anna was 24 years old, the younger daughter of a modest family. Her hair was brown, her eyes light. She was beautiful, but she didn't draw attention the way her older sister Diana did. Anna was different. Quieter. More inward. Her sister Diana had married 2 years earlier, to Lord Hurst, in a grand wedding. After that, she had gone on to her own life. The last time Anna had seen Thomas was 3 years ago, before he left for the war. Thomas had been Diana's fiancé then. Anna had stood beside them, smiled, waved goodbye, and she had carried something inside her. She had never said it. She couldn't say it. He was Diana's fiancé. That was a line you couldn't cross, a line you shouldn't cross. Anna hadn't crossed it. She had only carried it. She had carried it for 3 years. Now let me tell you about those 3 years. Thomas left. Diana waited for 1 year. Just 1 year. Then Lord Hurst appeared. He was wealthy, handsome, and present. Diana was a young woman, and Thomas was far away, and the war could last a long time. Her family pressured her. Diana said yes. The wedding happened. That morning, Anna's mother walked into the room. "Did you hear?" she said. Her voice was excited. "Thomas Grain has returned. They say he'll be coming to the Farwell house this afternoon. Your father invited him." Anna turned. "He's coming here?" "Yes." Her mother adjusted her hair. "Get ready. Wear something proper." She left the room. That afternoon, the doorbell rang. Thomas Grain was inside. He was standing. Anna's father was seated, but Thomas remained standing. He was tall. He had always been tall. But now he was different. The shoulders were the same. The height was the same. But his face had changed. It was pale. His eyes, the eyes that had always laughed, always shone, were closed. Not closed exactly. Locked. Something was inside them, but it wasn't coming out. The war had taken things from him. Thomas turned toward the door. He saw Anna. They looked at each other. 1 second. 2 seconds. Thomas lowered his head slightly. "Miss Anna." Formal. Flat. As if she were not someone he knew. "Welcome," Anna said. Her voice came out steady, calm. "Good." Her father stepped in. The conversation began. Anna came inside, sat down. Tea was brought. Thomas spoke very little. He gave short answers to questions. His eyes scanned the room, suddenly, quickly. Was it an old habit? Something left from the war? Anna didn't know. Then Thomas stopped. "Where is Diana?" Silence. Her father cleared his throat. Her mother set down her glass. Anna spoke. "Diana is married," she said. Her voice was flat. 2 years ago, to Lord Hurst. Thomas looked at her. His face didn't change. Not at all. No surprise, no pain, no anger. It stayed completely still. But Anna saw it. His hands. The hands resting on his knees. Slowly, almost unnoticed. Tightened. Just for a second. Then they relaxed again. The visit didn't last long. Thomas stood up to leave. They shook hands. Said their goodbyes. He walked to the door. At the door, he turned. He looked at Anna. 1 second. Only 1 second. Then he left. That night, Anna sat in her room. A candle burned beside her. Outside it was quiet. She thought about Thomas's face. Those closed eyes. Those tightening hands. He had returned. Thomas Grain had returned. But he wasn't the same. That bright man, the one who laughed, the one who made everyone turn when he entered a room. That man had not come back. Someone else had returned in his place. Someone quiet, closed, darkened inside. What had the war done to him? Diana Hurst heard that Thomas had returned at the breakfast table. Her husband told her. He read it from the newspaper, as if mentioning something ordinary. The Duke of Calmore has returned from the war. Diana set down the cup in her hand. Lord Hurst continued reading the paper. Diana's face had turned completely pale. We'll take a very short break. If you don't want to miss new stories, please subscribe to the channel. Diana sat in her room that afternoon. She looked at herself in the mirror. She was 26. Still beautiful. The kind of beauty London admired. Bright. Striking. Lord Hurst had married her for that. At least in the beginning. Now, Hurst's eyes were looking elsewhere. The marriage was unhappy. And now Thomas had returned. Diana closed her eyes. She had not waited. She waited 1 year, and then she let go. At the time, it had felt right. Did it still feel right now? She couldn't answer that. That week, the Pembertons were hosting a gathering, a large one, the first major social event of the season in London. Everyone would be there. Thomas, too. Diana knew that, and she went. The hall was full. When Diana entered, heads turned as they always did. She smiled, greeted people, shook hands. Everything was normal. Then she saw Thomas. He was across the room, standing alone. People were around him, but he was alone. A glass in his hand, looking out the window. Diana paused for a second. Then she walked toward him. Thomas. He turned. His eyes. Diana remembered those eyes. They had always laughed. There had always been something inside them. Warm, alive. Now they were cold. Not frozen, but closed. Lady Diana. He lowered his head slightly. His voice was polite. Flat. Diana hesitated. Lady Diana. He used to call her by her name. Just Diana. How are you? She asked. I'm well. And you? I'm well. She paused. I'm glad you returned. I was very worried. Thank you. 2 words. Polite. Final. Diana waited. He would continue. He would say something else, speak about the past, open a door. Thomas looked at her, waited, but he did not open that door. When Diana realized that, something shifted inside her. The thing she had expected did not come. That warmth, that recognition, that look that said, I remember you, I missed you. It wasn't there. There was only politeness. Cold, distant, perfect politeness. Good evening, Thomas said. Then he turned away. Diana stood where she was. 1 second, 2 seconds. Then she pulled herself together, turned, walked to speak with someone else. But the feeling stayed with her. New, strange, uncomfortable. I didn't wait. And now he isn't waiting either. Anna was at that gathering too. She was sitting in a corner, speaking with an elderly lady, smiling politely. But her eyes were elsewhere. She saw Thomas. She saw him walk toward Diana. She saw them speak. She watched. She saw Thomas's face. That cold, closed, politely distant face. She saw Diana's face. Surprised. Waiting, searching for something. And what did Anna feel? It was complicated. Sadness? A little. Thomas was so closed, so distant. Relief? That was stranger. But it was there. Small. Quiet. Almost shameful. He isn't looking at Diana. Then she pushed the thought away. Shame on you, she told herself. This is your sister. She turned back to the elderly lady, smiled, continued talking. Late that night, the house finally emptied. Thomas returned to his estate. He entered his room, took off his coat, walked to the window. London stretched below. Lights, sounds, that constant movement that never stopped. Thomas watched. He thought about Diana, that familiar face, that familiar voice. How are you? I'm glad you returned. 3 years ago, he had wanted to hear that voice. 3 years ago, he had carried that voice in his mind. During battles, in the camps, through those long nights. Now he had heard it, and he had felt nothing. That surprised him. Why had he felt nothing? Diana was beautiful. Diana was there. Diana had spoken. But those eyes, those cold, closed eyes that trusted no one, had seen nothing when they looked at Diana. Only the past. And the past was far away now. War did that. It pushed distant things even farther away. Thomas stepped away from the window. He sat in a chair, folded his hands in front of him. Another face from that evening came to his mind. A girl sitting in a corner, talking with an elderly lady, but her eyes somewhere else. Anna. He had looked at her. For a moment. Just a moment. And he had seen something in her eyes. He didn't know what it was. He couldn't name it. But he had seen it. He closed his eyes. London was alive outside. Thomas sat completely still. Inside him there was emptiness. There had been emptiness ever since the war. But tonight, inside that emptiness, there was something small. Something strange. He didn't name it. He let it be. That week, Thomas attended 3 gatherings, reluctantly. But he had to go. He had returned to London. Society expected it. The Duke of Calmore had to be seen. Thomas hated it. People asked questions. Always the same questions. What was the war like? What did you see? We won, didn't we? Thank goodness we won. And that smile, that polite society smile, he put it on his face, answered briefly, moved on. Feeling nothing inside. Anna was at those gatherings too. Not because she wanted to be. Her mother took her. Go out a little, see people. Anna went, because staying home felt the same. At the first gathering, she saw Thomas from a distance. At the second gathering, they sat at the same table. Pure coincidence. The kind no one plans. Thomas didn't look at her. Anna didn't look at him. But both of them felt it. The second gathering was on Tuesday evening. A large dining table. 14 guests. Thomas sat in the middle. He couldn't escape. Everyone faced him. The questions began. Your Grace, what was the war really like? The gentleman beside him sounded curious, well-meaning. Whatever the newspapers say, you know the truth. Thomas lifted his glass. It was difficult. Yes, of course. But the victory? Yes, the victory. Short, closed. The man didn't understand. He wanted to continue. Then a voice came from the other side of the table. Are you all right? Everyone turned. Anna Farwell had spoken. She had been quietly eating across the table. Then suddenly she spoke. Thomas turned. Anna was looking at him. Her gaze was calm, direct, asking exactly what she wanted to ask. It wasn't, what was the war like? It wasn't, did you win? Just, are you all right? Thomas waited a second. I'm all right, he said. Anna nodded slightly, returned to her meal. The conversation moved elsewhere. Everyone continued talking. But Thomas carried that question with him for the rest of the evening. The third gathering ended in the library, a large estate. The host's library was spacious, lined with shelves, with a fireplace burning in the corner. The guests were in the main hall. The library was empty. Thomas had escaped there. Half an hour. Just half an hour away from human voices. The door opened. Anna walked in. When she saw Thomas, she stopped. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't know." "Come in." Anna waited a second. Then she entered. She walked to a shelf, pulled out a book, sat in a chair in the corner. Thomas turned back to the window. Silence. Outside it was dark. The lights of London glowed in the distance. Anna opened the book. She read, or pretended to read. Thomas couldn't tell which. 5 minutes passed. 10. The silence remained. But that silence, unlike the noise in the hall, unlike the questions and laughter, was comfortable. Thomas noticed that. It didn't disturb him. Anna wasn't asking questions. She wasn't forcing conversation. She was simply there. After 15 minutes, Thomas turned. Anna was looking at the book. This time, she was really reading. Her face was calm. Her lips moved slightly with the words. Thomas watched her. Without realizing it, he watched. Then he spoke. "Have you been at home for 3 years?" Anna lifted her head. She was surprised. It showed for a second. Then she recovered. "Yes." "Why?" It was an unexpected question. Personal. Perhaps Thomas shouldn't have asked it. But he had. Anna closed the book. She thought. Truly thought. She didn't answer quickly. "Because I didn't want to go anywhere," she said. "I could have. There were invitations, offers, but I didn't want to go." "Why?" Anna looked at him. "Because I had no reason to go," she said. "And going without a reason, just going for the sake of going, has always felt empty to me." Thomas looked at her. He had not expected that answer. It wasn't a practiced society reply. It had been thought about. It was real. "I understand," he said. And he didn't immediately turn back to the window. For another second, he looked at Anna. Then he turned away. That night, as Thomas returned to the estate, he thought. Since the war, people exhausted him. All of them. Their questions, their looks, their tell us what it was like. Anna hadn't asked. She had only said, "Are you all right?" And in the library, she had simply sat there, reading her book. She didn't have to be beside him. She didn't have to speak. She had simply sat there. Thomas remembered that. He didn't want to remember it. She is just Diana's sister, he told himself. Nothing more. But that voice, "Are you all right?" It would not leave his mind. A week later, he went to the Farwell house. Her father had invited him. Dinner, a small family gathering. Thomas did not want to go. But not going would have seemed even stranger. There were 4 people at the table. The father, the mother, Anna, and Thomas. Thomas spoke little. As usual. Anna spoke little too. As usual. But at one point, in the middle of dinner, while her parents were talking to each other, Thomas turned to Anna. "Did you finish that book?" Anna looked surprised. "Which book?" "The one in the library. That evening." Anna looked at him for a second, then said, "No, I stopped halfway through." "Was it good?" "I'm still in the middle of it. It's too early to say." Thomas lowered his head slightly and returned to his meal. Anna did the same, but both of them smiled. Small smiles. So small, no one would notice. That night, Thomas sat in his room. His hands were clasped in front of him. He thought about Diana, that familiar beauty, that familiar voice, and he had felt nothing. Then he thought about Anna, the way she sat in silence, the way she had asked, Are you all right? That unfinished book. And something happened inside him. It was small, very small, but it was there. No, he told himself, firmly, clearly. No. Diana's sister. Stop. He shut that feeling down. He closed himself off, but not completely. And that failure to fully close it off, was the thing that troubled Thomas most that night. London heard everything. And that week, London was talking about Lord Hurst. The whispers had started. In clubs, in drawing rooms, at breakfast tables. Hurst's investments had collapsed. Hurst's partner had fled. Hurst was in debt. Nothing was certain yet, but when whispers started, they were usually true. Diana heard them. That week, Diana looked in the mirror often, while sitting, while standing, while passing by. She did not want to look, but she kept looking. 26 years old, married, unhappy, and Thomas was in the city. She had waited 1 year, then let go. At the time, it had felt right. Now it did not feel right. Lord Hurst was coming home late in the evenings, and when he came, he did not speak. Whatever Diana asked, he answered briefly. The marriage, that bright, hopeful marriage, had turned into something hollow, and Thomas was in the city. Diana made a decision. In the first week, she approached him in society. The Calloways' gathering, large, crowded, everyone was there. Thomas was there. Diana was there too. Diana walked over to him. She tried to seem natural, as if it were chance, unplanned. Thomas, she smiled, put on her best smile. It's good to see you. Thomas turned. He was polite. He was always polite. Lady Diana. Diana continued. How are you finding things? Have you gotten used to London again? I'm getting used to it. The city has changed so much. I actually wanted to speak with you. About old times I remembered. I'm sorry. Thomas turned slightly. Someone is waiting for me. Good evening. He left. Diana remained there. Her smile had frozen on her face. The second week, she tried again, this time more directly. At the Pembertons' tea, fewer people, a quieter setting. Thomas was standing by the window. Diana walked up to him. May I speak with you? Thomas turned, looked at her. Of course. Diana lowered her voice. I've been thinking about everything between us lately. It has been a long time, but Diana. Thomas did not cut her off sharply. He did not raise his voice. He only said it, that two-syllable name, but it carried weight. Diana fell silent. Thomas looked at her with those closed, cold eyes that trusted no one. But this time, there was something else in them too. Sadness, perhaps, or exhaustion, maybe both. It's over, he said. Just 2 words. Diana froze. She began. You made no mistake, Thomas said. His voice was flat. You were not required to wait. I know that too. He paused. But it's over. Everything is over. He lowered his head slightly and turned away. Diana stayed where she was. She clasped her hands together, watched him walk away. It's over. There was someone else in that room too, Anna. She was across the room, speaking with Lady Ashmore, or pretending to, because her eyes were not there. Her eyes were on Thomas and Diana. She could not see Thomas's face. His back was turned, but she saw Diana's face. She saw that frozen expression. She saw what happened after the words. It's over. And when Thomas turned, walking away from Diana, his eyes met Anna's. 1 second. Thomas looked. Anna looked back. Then Thomas walked past. Anna turned back to Lady Ashmore. She smiled, continued speaking, but something had happened inside her. It was small, very quiet, but it was real. "It's over," Thomas had said. To Diana. That word settled somewhere inside Anna. Was it warmth or pain? She did not know. Maybe both. Warmth because... No. Anna cut the thought short. "Stop. You are thinking about your sister. Stop." By the time she returned home, it was late. Anna went into her room, closed the door. She did not sit on the bed. She stood in front of the wardrobe. She thought about Thomas, about the silence in the library, about that, "Are you all right?" about the unfinished book, about that small smile at the dinner table, the one no one would have noticed. Then she thought about that scene, about the way he had said, "It's over," to Diana, and the feeling inside her, the feeling she had carried for years, buried, never spoken, was larger tonight. "Stop," she told herself again. But she was no longer fully listening. Anna lay down on the bed. She looked at the ceiling. Thomas will choose Diana, she thought. Maybe not today, maybe not this month, but he will, because it has always been that way. Diana in front, Anna behind. Diana is chosen. Anna waits. It had always been like that. It had always been. So bury this feeling, she told herself. Bury it now. Bury it deeper. And never let it come back. She closed her eyes. Outside, London was restless. Anna lay still, and she wanted to bury that feeling. But the feeling was digging upward inside her. It wanted to rise. It wanted to come out. That week, something changed. Thomas did not notice it right away. But it had changed. At gatherings, he was looking for Anna now. Without realizing it, when he entered a room, his eyes found her first. Was she in a corner? By a window? Who was with her? He did not say this to himself. He did not admit it. But he did it. On Friday evening, the Harringtons were hosting a garden party. It was late October, cold, but the garden was lit, and people were moving in and out of the house. Thomas felt suffocated inside. Too many people. Too many questions. Too many voices. He stepped into the garden. He took in the air. It was cold. It helped. He walked away from the lights, toward the far end of the garden. There was a bench there, in the dark. Empty. Empty, except Anna was sitting there. Thomas stopped. Anna lifted her head. She was surprised. That was clear. "I'm sorry," Thomas said. "I didn't know." "Sit down," Anna said. Thomas paused. Then he sat at the other end of the bench. For a while, neither of them spoke. It was a far corner of the garden. Music drifted out from inside. So did voices. But here it was quiet. That silence, that familiar silence, full but not uncomfortable. Thomas spoke. "Why did you come out here?" Anna looked out at the garden. It was too crowded inside. "I came out for the same reason." A short silence. "Have you always been like this?" Thomas asked. "Like what?" "The kind of person who escapes from crowds." Anna thought for a moment. "Yes, I think so." "You?" "Before the war, I wasn't." He paused. "Now I am." Anna said nothing. She did not ask why. She did not ask what happened. She did not ask him to explain. She simply heard him say, "I am not a person," not ask him to explain. She simply heard him. Thomas felt that. They stayed silent for a while longer. Then Thomas turned. "Miss Anna." Anna looked at him. "Why have you never married?" Silence. Anna froze. It was such a direct question, unexpected, the kind that stepped inside you. She did not answer. Thomas waited. He did not press. He simply waited. Anna looked out at the garden. The trees were dark. The distant lights trembled. She was not going to answer. She could not, because the answer would change everything. But she had told herself to bury that feeling. She had buried it that night, and the next night, and the one after that. But it was still there, still digging, still trying to rise. And this man, this cold, closed, distrustful man, was sitting here, waiting, not asking again, not pushing, just waiting. Anna turned. She looked at him. "Because I was waiting," she said. Thomas looked at her. For whom? Silence. A long silence. Heavy. Full. Anna did not answer. She did not need to. Thomas understood. The man went still. For a second, only a second, everything stopped. The garden, the sounds, London, everything. Then Thomas closed his eyes. Anna watched him. She watched that face, that closed face, that hard face, that face no one had been able to reach since the war. And she saw something. Something cracked. Only a little. So little, it was almost invisible. But it cracked. Thomas spoke. His voice was low. Low, but real. "I was waiting too." Anna froze. "In the war," Thomas said. "On those long nights. I was waiting for something. I didn't know what. I only knew there was something inside me. Something that made me think I would find something when I came back." He paused. "I came back, and I didn't find it. Everything was the same, but nothing was the same." Anna took a breath. "Diana was married," Thomas said. "Was I surprised? I don't know. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe some part of me already knew." He opened his eyes, looked out at the garden. "But what shocked me most was that I felt nothing when I saw her." "Nothing at all?" Anna asked softly. "Nothing." He paused. "For 3 years I thought about her, or I thought I did, but when I came back, she was standing in front of me and there was nothing. I was empty." He turned and looked at Anna. "Do you understand that?" Anna looked at him. "Yes," she said. Thomas held her gaze for a long time. "You were waiting," he said slowly, "for 3 years." "Yes." "I was gone." "Yes." "I was Diana's fiancé." "Yes." Each answer was short, flat, but full. Thomas waited for a second. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. Anna smiled. A small smile. Bitter. Real. "Because I couldn't," she said. "You were Diana's fiancé. There was a line. It could not be crossed. You didn't cross it." "No." Thomas looked at her. In that garden, in that darkness, far from the lights, that closed man, that darkened man, that man who trusted no one, felt something. Something he had not felt in years. It was not exactly warmth. It was deeper than that. More real. She waited, he thought, without speaking, without asking, without wanting anything. She simply waited, because there had been a line, and she had not crossed it. Because she was honest. Thomas closed his eyes. The war had taught him about people, quickly, out of necessity. Who could be trusted? Who could not? Who would do what they said, and who would not? This woman would do what she said. He knew that. He probably would have known it 3 years ago, too. He just had not looked. I was waiting too, he said again. This time he said it differently, more slowly, more honestly. But I didn't know what I was waiting for. Anna looked at him. Those eyes, always closed, always locked, were open tonight. What was inside them? There was exhaustion. There was pain. But there was something else too. Something new. Fragile. Something that did not yet have a name. Anna looked at that thing, and the feeling inside her, the one she had buried, pushed down, tried to silence. This time, she let it rise. Just a little. Just for tonight. They sat there for a long time. They did not speak. They did not need to. Music drifted from inside. London was alive. The garden was quiet. Then Thomas stood. Anna stood too. They walked back inside together. At the door they separated, one way, then the other. But Thomas turned at the door. Anna. Her name. Simple. Plain. Anna turned. Tomorrow, Thomas said. Then he paused. May I come to the Farwell house tomorrow? Anna looked at him. Yes, she said. That night Anna went into her room. She did not sit on the bed. She went to the window. It was dark outside. She had told herself to bury that feeling. She had told herself that more than once, and she had buried it. Every time, every night. Tonight she did not bury it. She let it stay. Because in that garden, Thomas Grain had said, I was waiting too. But I didn't know what I was waiting for. And Anna, quiet for 3 years, waiting for 3 years, never speaking, felt something inside her begin to loosen. It was a small thing, but it was real. Lord Hurst went bankrupt. The official announcement came on Tuesday morning, but London already knew. The whispers had been moving through the city for a week. On Tuesday morning, it was no longer a whisper. It was real. Diana read it in the newspaper that morning. Her husband was not at the table. He had left early. For his lawyer, his creditors, she did not know. Diana sat alone. Her tea grew cold. She did not drink it. She looked out the window. Thomas. That afternoon, Diana went to Thomas's estate, without sending word, directly. The butler let her in. Thomas came into the drawing room. He saw her. Diana had not even removed her coat yet. Her hands were clasped together. Her face still held that expression that had always been beautiful. But this time, there was something else beneath it. Fear, perhaps. Helplessness. Sit down, Thomas said. Diana sat. Thomas did not sit across from her. He remained standing. I heard, Diana said. Her voice trembled, only slightly, but it trembled. About Hurst's affairs, I suppose you know. I know. It is a very difficult time. She paused. Thomas, I needed to speak with you. I have wanted to for a long time, but I never had the chance. I have been thinking about everything that happened between us. I made a mistake. I should have waited. But at the time, Diana. He interrupted her. Gently, but he interrupted her. Diana looked at him. Thomas was standing there, his hands at his sides. His face, that face that was always closed, always cold, was different this time. Not hard. Tired. It's past, he said. Just that one sentence. Diana froze. Thomas, you made no mistake, Thomas said. His voice was flat. I already told you that. You were not obligated to wait. But it is past. He paused. Everything is past. I am past it. You are past it. There is nowhere to go back to. Diana looked at him. For a long time. And she understood something. She saw it in his eyes. Thomas's eyes were somewhere else. Not far away. With someone else. Who? She asked softly. Thomas did not answer. He did not need to. Diana understood. She closed her eyes, for a second, then opened them. She stood, straightened her coat, lifted her head. "Good day," she said, and she left. The door closed. Thomas remained where he was. He felt something, not sadness, not regret, something quieter than that, something more settled. It was finished, and it was right for it to be finished. He went to the Farwell house that afternoon. The butler opened the door. Thomas stepped inside. "Where's Miss Anna?" "In the library, sir." Thomas went up the stairs, walked down the corridor, came to the library door. He stopped. There was no sound from inside, but light was spilling out from under the door. He opened it. Anna was there, in her usual corner, in her usual chair, a book in front of her. When she saw Thomas, she lifted her head. She did not seem surprised, or perhaps she was, but did not show it. Thomas stepped inside, closed the door. He remained standing. "Are you still here?" he asked. Anna looked at him. A second passed. "I was always here," she said. Thomas looked at her. Those eyes, light-colored eyes that saw everything, eyes that never lied. 3 years ago, he had not seen them. He had not looked. Diana had been there, and Thomas had not looked. Now he was looking. And what he saw, it was warm. It was real. It had always been there. It had always been there. He had simply never seen it. Thomas walked over and sat in the chair beside Anna. Anna closed the book. She waited. Thomas did not speak at once. He looked out the window, the rooftops of London, the gray sky, the Thames in the distance, and inside him, that empty, dark, heavy thing he had carried since the war, the thing he felt every night when he lay down, lifted a little, just a little, but it lifted. "Diana came today," Thomas said. Anna waited. "We spoke." He paused. "It's finished." Anna said nothing. "It had already been finished for a long time," Thomas said. "I just needed to see it." He turned and looked at Anna. "Some things take time before you can see them." Anna looked at him. "Some things are always there," she said. "They just wait to be seen." Thomas heard that sentence. I was always here, waiting to be seen. The man felt something, in that empty place, that dark place, something small, warm, fragile. "Anna," he said. She looked at him. "I see you," Thomas said. "I see you now." Silence. The fire crackled in the fireplace. Wind moved outside. Anna closed her eyes. 3 years. For 3 years she had carried it. She had not spoken. She had buried it. She had pushed it down. And now this man was sitting in front of her, saying, "I see you." She opened her eyes. "You're late," she said. Her voice was soft, but it was not harsh. Thomas smiled. A small smile. Real. The kind that was rarely seen. "I know," he said, "but I'm here." That winter London was talking about something else. The Duke of Calmore was getting married. To whom? The younger daughter of the Farwell family. Anna. The quiet one. The girl who sat in corners. The one who never stood in the front. Society was surprised. Of course it was surprised. Not Diana? No. Anna. Why? No one quite knew. But those who saw them together understood. Because the way they looked at each other was different. The way they spoke was different. The way they stood beside each other was different. Diana's shadow was not between them. There were only the two of them. On the morning of the wedding, Anna stood by the window. London was waking. The streets were beginning to move. It was a gray December morning, but inside it was warm. A knock came at the door. "Come in." Thomas entered. He stopped, looked at her. Anna turned. They looked at each other. "Are you ready?" Thomas asked. Anna smiled. "I was always ready," she said. That night they stood by the window of their new home. London was below them. Lights, sounds, that movement that never stopped. Thomas looked. Anna looked. Quietly. But this time the silence was different. It was full, just as it had always been. But this time, it was not empty inside. Thomas Grain had returned from the war with darkness inside him. He trusted no one. He had not found the thing he had been waiting for, but it had always been there. He had simply never looked. Now he was looking. Thank you for listening to the story all the way to the end. Please tell us which city you're watching from and what the story made you feel. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss new stories.